Okay, let's start with a 10-15 minutes meditation. We get our mind calm. Just give me one minute and then do it. Yeah. One simple technique. Whenever you're thinking about something, and whenever you feel that you are not here, and you want to come back here, try to just breathe and conscious breathing, right? When you try to do the breathe consciously, you should be in your body and you should be in the present. You cannot leave your body. When you leave your body, the breath would be mechanical again, right away. When you are into your breath, you're feeling your breath, you're trying to be in your breath, right? Then you have two things. First, you're in your body. Second, you are in the present, right? The space and time would be here in ourselves. And then one of the other things we have to learn or we have to develop is the sensation and feelings more subtle than when you sense something. If I throw this thing on your head, then you feel it, right? But when a subtle layer of energy there is inside you or even outside you, you don't feel it. Gradually we're going to start in the meditation or in the guided meditation ones, trying to have the feeling and sensation. Now, if I press your finger like that, or your hand, or any place, you would feel it, right? But can you feel the fingers without touching it? That's the practice we're going to do right now. When I'm saying, okay, go to your finger, you should just feel your finger, but the touch is not outside. You don't have your next hand to touch it, right? You should feel it or touch it with your internal touch. You should touch it and then you say, oh, no, I'm feeling that. That's kind of the point of the consciousness. Goes through your body, goes through your finger. At the end of few sessions, if we're going to feel the heart rate in your finger, then it's good enough for this term, right? That's like a final exam of this semester. Okay, now then in this practice, I'll call different places of the body. Just try to take your mind or consciousness to that part of the body and just try to feel it from inside, right? Okay, first was breathing, second was the feeling or sensation. The breathing, when you breathe consciously, it's try to do 10% more deep than mechanical, right? Because the breath goes like to here and then they come back quickly. Then you just do it a bit more deep. Not I'm just exaggerating now, not like that, but it's just a bit more deep, maybe just 10% or 5-10%, which would be still natural, but a bit more in depth. And then that would be always when you do the conscious breathing, you're increasing your capacity, right? Capacity of your the amount of the air you take in and you breathe out. Okay. Then consider the breathing, and we go to touch, right? Sensation and touch with your mind. Okay, let's start. یه کوچولو موزیک بذار. First, try to listen to music for a couple of minutes. Music in the mind makes your body relax. Try to listen to music. Now concentrate on the breath from nose. Breathe a bit deeply. Feel your lungs. Air gets in your attention to your fingers, right hand fingers. Feel the top of your fingers. Bring your attention in your tip of your fingers from left to right, one by one. Repeat it again. Now bring your attention into your breathing again. Deep breathe. Now bring your attention to your left hand. First fingers. Now bring your attention to your heart, directly to your heart, trying to listen to the pulse or feel the vibration of the pulse. If you don't feel vibration or pulse, just keep your attention there. the heart. Now, as you have your attention in the heart, still keep the attention in the heart, but try to breathe deeply. Vibration of the heart goes to brain, head, and body. breathe. Let's come back to our body and open our eyes to conclude the practice. Okay, so can you turn on the light? Could you feel it? Could you feel your, yeah, that would be good to use me.
Yeah, honestly, I was surprised. I could, after a few minutes, it was just very soft. I could feel something on my chest, but then eventually I could feel like a strong, and then I could feel the heart. And then when you said to then do breathing and heart at the same time, I could feel. And then when you said to go back to the palm of the hand, then I could feel the pump in the heart, and then, you know, like a millisecond later it pumped through my hand. It was really cool. It was like a game.
Yeah, it was.
So I was kind of enjoying it towards the end, just experiencing that. I don't think I've ever experienced this before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you feel it, Chris? You guys have now private microphones.
Yes, I have. I just never went through it in a gradual step by step before. So it was an interesting, I think, as you mentioned last week, like learning to drive. Because when I'm focusing on the palms, for example, out of nowhere, it's like, how's my breathing? You know, so it's thinking of the multitasking, but I could feel it. Yeah.
Okay. Once you feel the vibration in throughout all of your body, then actually that's not the subject of this class, but that's you can start the healing of the body. That's like the basics of the pranic healing stuff goes through that vibration and the body. But that's actually self-healing. But that would be very good. Even sometimes you can feel the sickness in parts of your body before you have the sickness. Like for example, when you have a pain on shoulder, it's not much, you don't feel it, right? Because once it's very tough and very strong pain, then you can feel it. With a bit of problem, you just don't feel it, or you don't care even to feel it, right? But once you go to the meditation, then you can see more exaggeration of the pain even, right? Because you go in through the body and then you feel something wrong here. I can sense my vibration if it's in the palm of my hand, but I cannot do it in my shoulder, for example, right? Then you feel, okay, something wrong here. Then you go more attention toward there, and then suddenly you feel the pain. And then you would say that usually I don't have the pain, but in the meditation I have the pain. When the meditation finish, then you go back to the normal sensation. The normal sensation is not that it's exact precise in the vibration. You cannot feel that in the normal life, because through the attention to external life, we care more for the external life. We don't care for our internal life. then we lose internal. Gradually, even our bodies get worse and worse, but we don't care much. Till we need to go to hospital. Right? At that day, then we feel the pain. And then, even we don't fix it, we just have some pills to fix it, to not feel it. To not feel, most of the time, to not feel the pain even. Okay.
Hello.
Yep. Hello, Michelle.
Oh, great. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me join today. I'm friends with Zohar,
Yep.
and I'm quite a beginner in terms of meditation and mindfulness, and I haven't done it in many years, so now I want to train again and get better at it. So I know that with practice makes perfect.
Yep. Great. This is actually the second meeting we have. It's start of the training. That would be good. However, in the meditation, even if you practice 10 years, still you would be the learner. It doesn't go anywhere. It would be okay. Very glad to have you in this meeting, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay, Jawad.
One thing probably the first thing I noticed when I started this exercise a few years ago was how I took breathing for granted always in my life, because we know it's really an autonomous function in our body, but everything is relying on that. And when I started doing this practice, it still happens to me when I sit in meditation and I start focusing on my my breath and see, oh geez, this is the backbone of my my life and my being and presence, and I don't even pay attention to that, and I don't appreciate it. Yeah, I took it for granted always. Something I'm not sure if you guys also experience that, because this is an instinctive or autonomous part of our body functioning. As soon as we start focusing on that, and the first time it happened to me when I was guiding a meditation, and I asked the audience, focus on your breathing, but do not do it deeper. And as soon as I asked that, I was watching myself and says, oh, actually, I cannot focus on my breathing and not doing more deeply, because as soon as I focus on that, automatically it starts getting a bit deeper. Yeah. I don't know if that is something you have experienced or the others, that almost it's impossible for me that I start focusing on my breath and I just do it the same way as it was being done before.
No, that's true. Actually, if you have the Apple Watch or other watch, and then start to breathe consciously, you would see that the heart rate, and even if you have the stress app, the stress comes down quickly. I can bring like 5 to 10, after 2-3 minutes, bring 5 to 10 pulse less per minute. After 1 or 2 minutes even, thinking of or bringing the attention to the breathing. Because when you attend to the breath, we're going to talk more today, but when you attend to the breath, you will go to the present moment and your body. And then the mind, which is wonder all problems in the world, all issues, thinking about problems and issues, because mind is kind of problem solver and wants to solve something, but every time is in stress to solve something. Then the stress level goes down because you don't need to fix anything. You just said, okay, mind, let's come here, sit together, have a tea, drink or something, Just be here. And as soon as that happens, the attention goes to the breath, then the breath it would be longer, less, the numbers would be less, and it would be more quiet, and the peace actually starts from when we have our attention to the breath. And you cannot do the same breathing once you have your attention to that one. That was the reason I said 10% more, because that usually happens. When you have your attention to the breath, 10% would be more. And that gradually, when you do it conscious breathing through the day, then after like a few years, you would breathe more air into the lungs. Usually I think we are using like 10, 15, I don't know the percent exactly by science, but the science says that like a small portion of our lungs we are only using. We are not using the whole lungs to work. And to be honest, happiness is the oxygen. And prove it is very easy. We can not breathe for a few minutes oxygen, then you're not happy anymore. I don't know, maybe you're happy in the other world, but
So as you were guiding it, my mind veered off somewhere else. And then I was feeling cold, because I usually feel cold, like in my body. I'm a cold person. So when I came back to the breath, and then I focused into the palm of my hands, so I felt the warmth in the palm of my hands. So that gradually, as I focused, that gradually warmed up my hands. And then I went on, and I want to say, okay, I was saying to my mind, can you please help me to warm up my whole body? Because I was literally like quite in a state of shaking. And then that went through, and then from my head to toe, the whole warmth, as if someone is behind me and putting that nice, warm air into my body. It felt amazing, and I felt warm, and I'm actually warm now. I feel warm. And then going back to that lungs capacity, for the air, my sister has an issue with breathing. She went to a therapist, okay? And then what they told her, that you are not using the full capacity of your lung to breathe in and out. What you're doing is you're taking that very automatic breath to just survive, just survival mode. She's doing this. Like that, very shallow, yeah. So that is why it actually put a lot of pressure on her lungs, and she was feeling that. And then once she started doing breathing practices, that was like a few years back, then she could feel that she can actually breathe, that she's alive and happier.
Yeah, true. The funny thing was, I tried to do the breathing technique, some breathing technique every day. And then I went to the hospital for surgery. And then that day I said, I'm sick and I'm hospitalized. I don't need to do breathing. I was very lazy that day. Breathing technique now. And just rest a few days. And then 1 hour later, the surgeon came and he started telling me, you have to do the deep breathing for getting rid of the infection. I said, oh my God. I don't know, this is my conscious voice or consciousness voice, or this is the doctor, really? Doctor telling me for infection, deep breathing?
Or maybe the conscious voice through the doctor.
Yeah, conscious voice through the doctor was telling me. That was quite funny. I said, okay, I'll do it, okay.
The doctor was the vehicle. Yes.
Yeah, the doctor was the vehicle, yeah. Okay. Let's go through let's go through the one little piece of how mind works. Every session we are just focusing on one part of the mind, and then after a while we can connect all the dots together and realize how mind works. Okay. Um, the first session we talked about the data part and the system part, right? Now, the most important part we are going to discuss today is the data part. How to collect the data, and what data mind can collect, and why it's doing it. Okay, that's our topic for today. Okay, let's see. A child comes to this world, and he or she has a system, but no data, right? He has a system of the mind, everything works, and the instinctive centers in some level works, but he doesn't have any data. Let's assume he's he. He doesn't have enough data. For start working, he has to collect data. Okay, how a child can collect data? Can you tell me? Parents. How you can get data from the parent? Observe. Yes, okay. Let me just write down. Do we have the... I'll write this side of the board, that's fine. Okay, observe. Okay, or see.
Or mimic, copy, mimic.
Observe. When you observe, yeah, you copy. But observation is one part of the learning process. What about hearing? What else? Experiencing. Experiencing has general meaning. Experiencing through eye, through ear,
Five senses.
five senses. Touch, right? Through taste, and one missing. Smell, okay. Okay. Then that's the first 5 window through the mind, isn't it? Mind has 5 window to take in the data. That's for everyone in all ages, as much as you're alive, you should have 5 senses, or most of the 5 senses. And the data is collecting through 5 senses. The kids, for example, touch the fire, then burn, then experience, but through the touch or through something see. Now, these 5 senses gathering the data. Sometimes they cooperate to each other. For example, the first time I see the fire, I don't feel it. I don't know what it is. Okay? The eye itself cannot feel anything. But I touch, then I have the feeling, then I feel the pain, then now my mind knows, right? When my mind knows, then next time when I see only, my mind says, oh no, that's fire, that's if you touch, there is a problem here, right? Then I would say that this all goes to a mind. Which part of the mind? We call it sensorial mind. Sensorial mind is the mind which only works with these senses. Now, but when we're talking about the morality, divinity, it's not sensorial mind. That's very simple, earthly. On the earth, we have that. Now, sensorial mind goes to analytical mind. Because all the data through the sensorial mind go through the analyzing the data. analytical mind. Now, the analytical mind is the place is analyzing this data. But when the data comes through the sensorial mind, analyzing that data, I should have a memory then, right? The memory is the storage of all the personal data, which goes sensorial mind, go to memory, and then the analytical mind is using that memory, right? Okay. When we're talking about the analytical mind or sensorial mind, it's all part of the mind. One part of the mind, we call it sensorial mind. It's not different mind. Generally, the whole human being is a mind, even the body. But different parts we're talking about. There should be equivalent to this in the brain too. When we're talking about the mind and brain, it sometimes could be confusing. We might say, okay, the touch is in the brain, or the touch is in the mind, right? The brain and mind, you have to always see they are coexist together. Like, for example, when we're talking about the fire, we cannot say it's matter or it's energy. Everything in this world is a matter, and everything in this world at the same time is energy, right? Sometimes the matter, it's potentially have energy, sometimes have the active energy, like burning candle or the candle which is not light on yet, okay? The brain and mind are the same thing. It's just in different layer of the same thing. Now, we're talking about the mind, but the brain has the same stuff, same equivalent of the parts of the brain, which goes to the different neurons, that goes to the different parts of the brain, that how it feels, how it works, right? Because the mind, especially this part of the mind, which is the simple part, is in the brain too at the same time. Okay? Okay, now, with the sensorial mind, every data is collecting, goes to the memory then, for analytical mind. Now, when I decide something, as a kid, 7 years old or 10 years old, when I decide something or any decision I'm going to make, usually I go to the analytical mind. I don't have morality, I don't have soul, I don't have consciousness. It doesn't even mean that things for a 7 years old kid, yeah, right? It's just all analytical. Everything would be calculated and would tell me do it or not do it, or good or not good. It's nothing going through the right and wrong. Now, once we get older, that would be a bit different. When we go over especially 20, 25 years, 30, 40, then this would be different layer. But we are still talking about us only in this layer. It's the first layer. Now I want to talk about how the sensorial mind creates memory and how we get the data from the memory, right? Okay. Let's see. Now I'm not going to give you child example, probably adult, but this part of the adult, right? Now I'm sitting here, I'm saying, okay, I bet I can keep my finger on this candle for 10 seconds. I know it's burned, and you know it, right? And I do it. And then, Akil then try it 10 less or more. Now, our hands or our fingers would burn. But do we cry or do we laugh? probably laugh because we decided, we are happy to do it. Even our fingers might get like wounds or burned, but still we are happy. Agreed? Okay. The pain, it's not always bringing the like suffering or cry, right? The pain depends on the mind, something else in mind. Something else in mind is deciding, is it good to burn or not? At the end of the night, I might go to see my wife and said, oh, we had a very good fun with Akil. So what did you do? And so I burned my finger. That could be even fun. Now, sometimes there could be not any harm, but still I would have a, like I'm going to touch the candle, and then someone tells me, let's see, I see a, I don't know, lion in the jungle. I'm going to put my finger in his eyes, and then I haven't done it. I'm just putting my finger, and then my mother screams. And then from that scream, I would have the fear, right? I'm not touching, I'm not doing anything, and then I go to my mother, and then even with no pain, I would have a memory of being dangerous. But I felt it through my mother. My mother was scared. My mother knows more than me, right? Then I feel that pain. I feel that, oh, my finger might like go, or I don't know, something happened to it, or I lose my finger. Then pain is very important in the body, but it's not the main part. The main part is the feeling on top of the pain, or on top of the every experience. Every experience has, instead of the, on top of the sensorial mind is happening, every action is happening in the life, and then I have the feeling on top of that action. That's the most important part. Now I want to explain where that feeling comes from, right? Especially from the childhood. The giving examples from the childhood sometimes clarify, but it would be exactly the same for us, right? Now, if something new I experience, right? Like you said that you haven't done it, and you could feel your heart, right? If your mother if your mother told you that, don't do that, then you sit here, then you have stress, or you might have some fear toward it, then you don't feel it, or you don't experience it, right? Because somebody else told you to not do it. Now that would be harder for you to do it and experience it. The best experience is always when you don't know anything. Then you don't have, your mind says, okay, I don't know, let's go and see. If someone tells you, if you go to this meditation, you feel your heart, right? Then even which is the right data, when you come to this meditation, you might not feel your heart, or you might think you feel your heart. Right? Okay. The best experience for mind is always when the mind is free of the result, free of any fear, any craving, any aversion, I don't want it, or want it, or like it, or don't like it. The best spirituality even is like that. You say, okay, no, I'm going to do something. I'm going to experience, see what is spirituality, what is this meditation class does with me. I'm going to test, I'm going to try. That would be always the best. But if someone comes and says, okay, spirituality is to find God. And then from the first session, I'm teaching the heart, he's looking for God, right? And then his mind, the sensorial mind, goes through the analytic of everything that is happening through what he wants. It's not really experiencing then, right? The experience of everything is the best situation is to just feel, to just experience whatever is there. When you don't have any preconcept about something, the mind is easily trying to experience, thank you, and there is no feeling. The feelings comes afterward through your own experience. But if someone else tells you, wow, if you go to meditation with like these meetings with Reza, that we would be, this happens, good or bad, then you cannot feel something. Okay? Now, the first time when mind is empty and can do the feeling himself or itself without any judgment, that would be the best of all. But now you felt the heart. Next time when I'm going to teach something else, I'm going to teach feel your feet instead of the heart. But still you have a bit of the feel of the heart in your mind, right? Then you cannot easily feel your feet because now you have the prejudgment. Now your mind is not free to go. Why this happening? Because of the feeling. Everything, when we do everything, it creates a feeling for us. The feeling is deciding, is it good or bad? The feeling part of the, let's go then, right here, the feeling. Or sensation. Sensation, but through the emotion. More emotion sensation, or sensation is emotion sensation. Sensation makes sense, okay. Now, this would be, the analytical mind is using from the memory and also using I want something. Where? Different color I want it.
I couldn't find it last time.
Okay, we don't have that. And I'm pretty sure you cannot read whatever I'm writing here. Don't worry. And also the feeling and sensation. Okay, good, thank you. Then the analytical mind is not only referring to the memory, it's referring to the memory and feeling and sensation. Feeling sensation has like is a deposit box of everything related to the memory. I'm saying that last time I've seen Akil, and then my analytical mind goes to the memory, says, okay, yeah, I've seen Akil before. We have been a Friday together or Saturday together. We went to some places. Then right away, analytical mind goes and says, okay, what was the feeling? How was it? Right? The quality. The quality asks from the feeling center. The feeling center says, oh, that was a very good day. I really enjoyed it. Oh, that was not, that was good. That was the worst day of my life. Then, based on these two factors, I start to decide my next step. Is it clear? Something very simple, a very nice, simple system. But now, that's how the mind gathers the information. The divinity part, or the conscious part, we're talking in future, we just want to know that normal mind, a normal human mind, how it works. Then 5 senses gather data, right? Goes to the memory, and memory keeps everything you have seen, everything you have heard, everything you have tasted, everything. It's a very Akashic record or deposit box of everything you have experienced. When we say experience, now we have 5 senses to experience, right? Like, okay, now, plus the feelings. Now there is one more thing, which is very funny. What if I've seen my sister get married with a, I don't know, like a specific type of man. They didn't have a good life, and then they got divorced, and it was lots of negative emotion for me, like crying my sister. I've seen this scene, right? Now, Akhil talking to me says, okay, my sister is going to marry with a guy. Now, the guy might be the same name as the one married my sister, or might be the same, something similar. Then I would say, Akhil, tell your sister to not get married with this guy. That's normal, right? That's the feeling, that's the experience. However, that's not really a valid data. But that's the only data I have, and it's valid for me. Now, the first thing is what we experience, we trying or we think it's valid, which is not. Most of the cases it's not. We don't know why their life was, even might be my sister's issue, and I'm thinking that her husband was the problem. First of all, okay, let's go a bit more. Now, I don't have a sister, and there is no problem with my sister or her husband. I'm watching a movie, Indian movie. A girl is dating the same guy, or the same type of guy. And then the worst things in the world happening to that girl. Now, a week later, Akhil tells me my sister is getting married with the same type of guy. I would have some concern, because I've seen it. I've seen people get like lots of issue with that guy. However, I've seen it in a movie. I know the movie was movie. It was like a Bollywood movie, and it's not really true. But part of my mind says, what if it is true? However, I know it's not true, but some places in my heart, my mind, think might be true. Okay. The funny thing is, mind gather all the information from everywhere, right? And right or wrong, good or bad, it doesn't know. It's just the information. Mind says, okay, that information happened at least in the Bollywood. Might happen again. But before seeing that, he was not thinking of that possibility. Now he's thinking of that possibility that might happen something. Or even you might, in your dream, in the sleep, when you're asleep and you have dreaming, even there, something happens, and you might create a fear there. Still, it's affect your life, isn't it? Okay. Now, it would be very funny if I said, we have 5 senses externally. Also, we have 5 senses internally. How? We had the cactus here when we bought the house. It was a big cactus there. We didn't know what type of cactus it is. It's a very dangerous type, but anyway. Once I've seen it from far from the cactus, I just seen it the first time. Then when I was in meditation or semi-dream, I was thinking, wow, that has a very bad thorn and with a nice fruit, a very delicious one, but very bad thorns, or a small one, you don't see them. Then I started to imagining, oh, what if kids come to our home, and then goes and eat that or take the fruit, and then they would have problem. I just imagined it. It might not be, because I haven't seen it really close and I didn't know the information, it was a guess. But the guess was, I was thinking 5 minutes. I said, what if Chris's boy is coming and then goes there, and then this happens, and then Chris gets angry, and then he would be mad or sad, or wow, that would be the big disaster. I was just all thinking, and never happened. Any kids even, they don't care for that cactus. But that was part of the experience. Still, I created the experience. And then the next week when we were talking, when we bought the house and then we came here, we moved here, the first thing I was talking to Babak, which is my mate, is helping me to take care of the garden and everything. I said, oh, we have to put some barrier just for no one goes in. Okay, I was scared. I had some fear, but there was no experience. I made my own experience because I'm a grown man. I can create whatever I want to create, isn't it? Okay. Then the experience is not always coming from the sensorial mind. We call that interior sensorial mind. Because I was in sleep one day and I was eating korma sabzi and it was delicious. And then I woke up, I said, even my tongue was not working. How that's possible? But I was feeling, I was just really sensing that it was delicious, right? Or probably a lot happens, you might have some fight or something in the dream. And then you wake up, you have some pain in your body. You feel that, someone kicked you. But you see, no, it's not, even didn't happen. But the mind have that experience, right? That's, in next session, I'll talk about why we can do that, why we can create imaginary experience, which sometimes is good, sometimes it's not good. But just to summarize here, we get our information when we are kid only through the external sensorial mind. Through the time when we get more older, then we can create our own experiences, right? Which substantially is everything on top of, again, the exterior mind. Because even when I'm thinking, oh, that's happening, that's like someone paints, someone take the cactus, or sometimes someone does something, all of that data I'm just mixing up together. I've seen it before. I've seen someone angry, I've seen a child get hurt, I've seen a cactus with a thorn, but I've seen one of them in movies, one of them in the documentaries, one of them in my aunties or aunt or someone. Then I'm mixing up together and I create an experience or possibility. Then I keep that one. If it's too serious for me, I can write in my memory, right? The memory write down, okay, someone might get hurt, I have to be careful. That's then sensorial mind, interior or exterior. I don't know how.
So I'm going back into my childhood, where we had a semi-tough life. We lived in India for about 7 years or so, and then moved here when I was young still. But in my situation, my family situation, I've never experienced love. Okay, it was never a subject to be felt, nor you could actually show your feelings, how you felt about your true feelings, the sensations within myself. Okay, so within me, since the beginning of my childhood, I built this that love does not exist. Okay, and that love in itself is a bull. It's all bullshit, excuse my language, but that's exactly what came into my mind. And then once I stepped into adulthood, I had a crush on a guy, okay, and I was probably 15 years old or something. And then I was like, I love him, I think this is love, okay. I had a feeling that this is probably a true love that I'm feeling towards this person. And then once I saw that person has a girlfriend, I felt tremendously hurt, because once again I went back into the memory of being neglected, not showing any love, and not having the opportunity to actually show love either. Because each time I would go hug my brother or sister, I would literally be like, oh, just go away, don't come close to me. So that would actually, and then as I grew up, and then when I got married at the age of 17, I had a very strong feeling for my husband, and it was tremendous the first time I saw him. And then I was like, within the 2 weeks, I was like, I started liking him, And then I was like, it could turn into love. I was like, is this love? Is this liking? Is that mean my mind is tricking me to think that? And then I told his sister that tell him that I like him. And then so he goes and tells him that, I like him and so on and so forward. Within the 3 weeks, that feeling or the sensation became so strong that because I couldn't differentiate between having feelings and being, and loving, because I didn't know what love is. I still don't know what love is, to be honest with you. And he comes back to me and he says that he likes me as well. I could not believe that someone can like me, someone can share that love, the feeling, the sensation I have, they can have it for me. Because in my childhood, I just thought it doesn't exist. All you have to do is you live, you survive, you breathe, and so on and so forward. So it was a tremendous experience for me, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm still am after 20 years for my husband. So it was something that was a wake-up call for me.
Okay, that's a good example of experiencing sensorial mind. Once we had a meeting with parents and how to treat child, especially these days with iPad. And one of the interesting subject, or one of the teaching, was very trying to teach the parent was, remember that whatever you do, it would be an experience for the child. You can create, as well said, not being loved or liked. You can create fear, right? Let's give one simple example. Imagine a 4 years kids is just running away here in the middle of the class. And then in the middle of the class, he collapsed, right? He fell to the ground. And then we all start laughing, right? Just start, everyone laugh, no one just moves, so just laugh. What happened to the kid? Okay. What if we scared and we said, what happened? What happened? Kids, are you okay? Everyone goes, are you okay? Okay. And then hug him. Then fear. Right? Okay. What if we don't care? No. No. He would just fall. As a kid, they don't feel much pain when they collapse. It's normal for every kid. But when the mother is scared, then they feel fear through the mother. The next time they fell, again, they start crying. The cry starts, but really said, okay, you just fell. Stand up and continue. You don't need to fear or anything. But the mother causes the fear, right? The experience of the fear. And it takes a few years for the kids to grow up and to rewrite that experience, which we talk about the rewriting later. The best is when we sit here, just we don't care. Kids play, they fell, then they stand up again, they continue. That's it, very simple. But we have to remember, all of our reaction create the data, personal data for the kids, especially the fear one. Because the fear one is the worst. Even if we laugh, it's better. I would prefer laugh because the child does not feel shamed much because he doesn't have pride, right? Even he might start laughing with you because he feels, if you felt something funny happened, right? Then everyone laugh. He doesn't feel shame. If a grown man which has pride that's happened, then he feels shame. A child, a kid, doesn't feel shame. It's because it doesn't have pride yet. Right? He just experience, feeling, and then next time when he fell, he laughed. Very, very simple experience and changing him. Once I had a specific, strange, an ordinary yoga teacher. And once I said, okay, I have like problem this part of my body, and then he started to like stretch my body, and then he was very strong, and he was stretching me in a way. Then I start with screaming. It didn't work. Then I was crying, and he didn't care. He was just like pushing me. He said, no, you have to stretch like that. And then like 10 minutes later, he told me, one suggestion. I said, okay, now I'm dying, and any suggestion, I can't accept any suggestion. It doesn't matter anymore. He said, crying or screaming is a sensation, it's a feeling, it's a reaction to this pain I'm causing now, right? I said, yes, yes, yes. He said, okay, laugh then. And then I was really surprised for a second. And then I started laughing. It was the same feeling. And then I started laughing, and then my mind, it's like flip-flop, changed the status. I said, that's something funny. He's doing good, something to my body, which has pain, but it's fine. And it was very funny. I changed the feeling on the pain, right? If the pain was not really dangerous, I knew he was doing something right, but still it was like lots of pain in all my muscles and tendons, right? And everything. Anyway, The feeling is more experience, and then one experience create another experience, and then create an experience. The memory is what happened in the memory is very, very simple. A very simple experience. But what we create internally after that memory, it might be more complicated, like the cactus I was thinking, right? Or might not be, something happened last year, it was very funny. We got scissors for gardening. You just click, and it was just automatic one, and it was like more than this size. It was just cutting in half easily. And then I was really scared. I was using it, and it was every time in my mind I was saying, "Oh, what if my finger goes inside?" It just quickly cut it in half.
Before even you say that, that came to my mind.
Yeah, exactly. That came to your mind. Yeah, John said that even in my mind now. Okay. I'm not saying fear is bad, right? Fear, we talk about the fear still in future. But still, the simple thing was we can create fear out of our experiences. We can create laugh. We can. Now, that feeling part is on top of every memory. And that can be changed. Memory cannot be changed. The feeling can be changed. Right? Let's imagine that I was running here, and then I fell, and then you all laugh, and I get ashamed, right? Probably I'm not even come back to this class anymore, because I don't want to feel the same thing.
As an adult. Yeah.
As an adult, yes, as an adult. Now, what if I change that experience simply? How can I change the experience? One day, we all sit together. I tell you the story. I said, I was very ashamed, and I fell, and it was too embarrassing, all right? And I'm just expressing what a feeling inside me, which was like embarrassment or pit. Then when I express it to you as a fun, and then you laugh with me, right? Then after saying that, that's not that much embarrassment anymore, right? That's the feeling is a bit less bad. Then I might come back to class. I'll feel okay, right? That's how mind works. Mind has different layers. Next session we talk about more on memory, how indexing, why you don't remember something, why you remember something. If I tell you like apple, what do you remember? We talk about the memory, how it's saved in the mind, how you have access, because lots of things you don't have access anymore. But still, it's affecting you, right? That part we're talking next week. I want you to reflect on, this week, on your sensorial mind, internal sensorial mind, analytical mind, feeling and sensation, and memory. That's just like a simple lesson. The whole lesson is complicated. I just told you the simple part. I want you to reflect, think, and see your memories, your decision, right? Right now, when you're living here, what's your feeling? What's your analytical mind says? What's your memory says, right? How you create that. If you start watching your mind, observing your mind, you would learn a lot. Actually, I've learned a lot from observing my own mind, how it works, where it's come from, any thought, where it's come from. Then why this thought is changing to something else. That's like the mind, the mechanism of the mind or system of the mind, and the data is very, very interesting. The lesson I give you, it's not every detail. It's just a system. And then based on that system, I invite you to watch or observe your mind and learn what is your mind, how it works. Step by step, every session we talk a bit of the system, and then you try to practice, right? Practice is not just sitting there meditating. Practice is question, like for example, this week task or homework is when you decide something, is it based on your experience or not? I'll give you time, okay? For example, Master said that we have this dinner this time. He said, no, I don't like that. Okay? Okay, can you change it? That's one simple question. Why I don't like a food, right? One day I didn't like a food, and I challenged myself to eat it. It was worse. All right. After that, I could not even think about it. And then I meditate, and then I went to eat the food. It was worse. And then I sat there. I said, okay, how should I change my mind? I want to like this food. Lots of people like this food, right? Why I don't like it? And then I decided something. I said, okay, now you are deep in my mind. I have to access. I have to do something. I have to enjoy something. And then, simple trick. I said, okay, I'm not having my lunch. I'm not having my breakfast. I'm saying, okay, today is fasting. No food at all. And then at night, before, it was 6, 7 p.m., even my mind, I said, no eat fooding except this food. All right? Just, we're going to be hungry for a few days. It didn't take a few days. Even the same day, 6, 7 p.m., my mind was thinking about eating that. I said, nope, wait. We cannot eat that. That's not delicious. And then a couple of hours later, my mind was begging me, no, it is delicious. It's not that bad. And then that night, 9 p.m., I had that dinner, and my mind enjoyed. And then it was changed. And then I said, no, that was good even.
Your mind changed your mind.
My mind changed my mind, yeah. Actually, it's consciousness changing the mind, but yeah, for now we're talking about. But the analytic changed, right? I could change an opinion I had based on the experience, which I didn't like at the time. I don't know why, what happened, or my mother maybe didn't like it, or it was something bad, or I remember I had a food, that food broke one of my tooth, and then I didn't like the food. It was not related to the food. It was not something inside the food. It was not really, but my mind at the time said, this food, tooth. That's just kept it there for 10 years, and I didn't like that food. And then one day I said, why? All right? That was part of my study. Why I don't like. Then in one of my meditation, I remembered. I said, oh, that happened. Right? That's Lentil. Lentil. Yeah, instead of lenten, green lentils, there was one piece of the solid, probably, I don't know, something. Yeah, rock or gravel or something. It was not really lentils problem. It was the that thing's problem. But my mind is not really brilliant. It's just brilliant of gathering information, making analytics, and decide for me, right? Which, when you started this class, that start to changing. That's a start. You control your mind. You teach your mind instead of mind gathering all the information. That's actually the best mind can do, which is good. But now you have all the information, all the experience, right? Now I want you to focus this week on that. If any experience or anything you're learning, you don't learning, I would be very happy for you guys to write it down in the group. Just write down that I was going to decide that, or I'm going to change that. I want to investigate that. Something in my own mind. Everyone, okay, that's all.
I just wanted to clarify things. So these three will actually go under the banner of memory. The three that, or is it 1, 2, 3?
Memory is like a baseline,
Yeah.
right? And then on top of the baseline is the feeling, the second layer. I was going to explain next week. That on top of every experience, on top of it is an emotion, right? And then on top of it is the analytic, right? Analytic could mix up, could sometimes be very good, right? I ask, that's something like ChatGPT these days. I ask, do you know Reza Nazemi? He said, yeah, he has the international Marefat school, which one is in Australia, one is in Malaysia. I said, Malaysia? He said, yeah, that's a student going there. There is a Marefat school called there too. That is a school called Marefat, and it's higher school. And he was mixing up these two together. I said, no, that's not. How should I fix the memory of ChatGPT now? It doesn't have feeling actually, but the memory is just mixing up. Or Sina, my son, was saying that someone asked ChatGPT, I'm just making a pizza and it doesn't, the cheese and stuff doesn't stick together. And then ChatGPT said, use like more cheese and add a bit of the silicone. Glue. Add some glue. Stick together. Yeah. Actually, our mind is sometimes like that. Sometimes it's just mixing up things together, which is sometimes funny even. But once you start working with your mind, you can fix that glitches. You can start to say, okay, I don't want to not like anything. I don't want to just hate something, or even a food, right? Or anything. Why I should be like that? Then you would be in control of changing yourself as the default to whatever you want to be, right? That's the aim of this class, actually. It's teaching you only the first or basic steps. It might have some complication to achieve this, but at least we understand, okay, how the mind or how the mechanism of the mind, mechanism of the mind works. And now once I learned how the mind works, how the feeling works, how I can change it. That's the subject of this workshop or